Hi guys, this is Stan. Huge welcome if you're new here. So July is a bit different. Normally I can read at least 4 fantasy books in a month. But thanks to my birthday holiday, I can only finish 3 fantasy books in July. Now that might sound a bit like a disaster, but here comes a twist. 2 of them are actually a 5-star read. Because of this, I don't really see the point to go through my reading statistics because I finished 3 fantasy books. In total, they're over 1,800 pages and 2 of them are 5-star read. That's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's just move on and talk about these 3 fantasy books I finished in July. The first book I finished is called The Sorrow of the Sea by Stephen Aryan, which is the last book of the Nintangle and the Falcon trilogy. This series is inspired by the Mongolian invasion to Persia in the 30th century. Now, I started this book before my birthday holiday, reading a little bit of it while I was away and finished it once I got home, so my review could get a bit scattered, should we say. In case you haven't heard about it, this series follows the ambition of the Mongolian Khan called Hulaku and the resistance coming from the Persian rebels. Then in the second book, we were introduced to a very powerful group of characters called Khoisan. They can be further divided into 2 opposing factions, order and chaos, and they will secretly manipulate events towards their favor from the shadow. Finally, coming to the last book, we will still follow our good old familiar characters, let's say Temujin, Kokojin, and also Kafon. Their arcs finally coming to the end. Temujin will try to find out and pursue his vision. Kokojin will have a redemption arc, and of course Kafon as a rebel will try to liberate Persia from the Mongolians. What I do love about this book is the fast-paced modern writing style. It is just so easy to follow and free of unnecessary details. The character will also have a strong development. Although I don't really have that deep emotional attachment, it is still vivid. And there would not be any shortage of action. There are plenty of them and they are lively, especially with a large-scale battle. But I feel a bit disappointed by the disjointed multi-POVs. We will have perspectives from the Mongolians, we will have perspectives from the Persian, and they may even travel to Europe. Jumping between these perspectives could feel a bit disjointed and disrupting the flow. And the new players added to the game, the Khoisan, the really powerful, secretive, manipulative group of magic users, I just feel their ending is a bit rushed and repetitive. All in all, I would still say it is a solid conclusion. If you are into Asian-inspired fantasy or if you are looking for one to start with, I'll still highly recommend it. The ending leaves out some room for future stories if the author want to do so, and I'm glad that I found my new favorite author, Stephen Aryan. Maybe I'll give this one a polite 4-star, not like a very bad trilogy, but I think there's something missing to make it like stand out more. So I would say this is quite a solid start of the month, but the next one, ooh la la, it just make it extra special. I am talking about You, The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. It took me some time to complete this book. It is quite thick, but thanks to my holiday as well. It is absolutely worth it because it can easily become one of my favorite Wheel of Time books so far. Just a very quick wrap-up of what this series is about. The Wheel of Time is a 14-book long epic fantasy series in which we will follow the Dragon Reborn, Rand, and his friends. They will grow from someone from middle-of-nowhere village to the key players in this massive battle between light and evil. So in The Gathering Storm, what I do love is the focus on certain characters, especially with Rand and Egwene. It delivers some of the strongest character arcs so far in this series. Egwene definitely shines in this book. Her intelligence, political maneuvering, and sheer determination is just so good to read. Even so, I doubt she will become one of my favorite characters in this series because of what had happened earlier in this series, and that moments can get a bit controversial. And if you have read this series before, you may agree that Rand's chapters perhaps is not the easiest thing to read. It is always so heavy and painful to read, but this time it hit perfectly. From someone who appears to be quote-quote broken to the moment of realization, it's just so dramatic, so emotional and epic. And this book is packed with huge moments. Massive battles, non-weighted confrontation, and one jaw-dropping twist that left me completely stunned. Oh, your dress is green will always live rent-free in my mind. Honestly, thinking about that moment and those 2 chapters still sent me goosebumps, and I finished this book 1 week ago. It just shows you how strong that moment is. It reminds me of thinking about J Legacy, all those like twists and turns, shocked, stunned, speechless. It's just so good, guys. And you may have noticed already, this book is actually co-written by Brandon Sanderson. Very sadly, Robert Jordan couldn't complete this series while he was still alive, so it was completed by Brandon Sanderson. Now, you may wonder, this book is like the first one that is co-written. Can you see the influence of Brandon Sanderson? I would say yes here. In a way, you may have noticed towards the second half of this book, Brandon Sanderson's touch just makes the narrative more accessible in a sense. It ties up all these sprawling threads without explaining too much, and it honestly helped me to connect all these tiny dots in this massive series. This is everything I needed, I wanted from the Wheel of Time series. Strong character arc, epic battles, stunning twists, and clever plotting. This one can easily be a 5-star read. I just can't wait to get back to this world to finish the last 2 books and see how this series is gonna end. I have a feeling it is going to be a very emotional, bloody mess. Lastly, I close out my July's reading with Kingdom of Bones by Philip C. Quaintrell, and what a wild month it is. In case you don't know, which I have repeated quite some time already, this series, the Echo Saga, is part of my 2025 reading plan. It is actually the second book of the second trilogy in this 9-book self-published epic fantasy saga. I hope you get it there. And this second trilogy took place 30 years after the first one. The world has been enjoying peace for almost 30 years, and now all these characters, all those that we have met, alongside with the dwarves and the dragon is those that can bond with the dragon, must face the invasion from a race called orcs and a really thrilling feeling called the Crow. What I do love about this book is the atmosphere. It is incredibly bleak. This invasion has left everyone exhausted, the food supply is low, and the morale is crumbling. It feels like there's no light literally in this book until a glimmer of hope lit by the dragon. This oppressive, almost despairing tone hooked me to see all these characters fighting to their limits. But what really stuck out in this book, I think, is the villain. The Crow is a well-calculated antagonist, always a step ahead, a terrifying clear vision, and a web of manipulation that we only started to understand. There is also another character, rise from a thug to an advisor, whose cunning rise in court politics is equally chilling. Don't get me wrong, the heroes are still compelling, especially with one character whose growth mirrors his past, but to me the villain definitely stole the spotlight in this one. The plot and the pacing are always spot on. Every perspective feels purposeful, and they are like the pieces to a larger puzzle that we are so desperate to solve. There are also plenty of actions in this book, let's say large-scale battle, dangerous exploration, and thrilling escapes. And most importantly, an epic large-scale confrontation where every faction come together to defend their home. The plot, the characters, the atmosphere, and the tension made it a perfect read. This second trilogy has been hitting every single time, I'm not lying here, so this can easily become another 5-star read. I honestly can't wait how this second trilogy gonna end. Now, this is my July reading wrap-up. Not too much here, but I found 2 new 5-star reads, which I think can definitely make up for the number. Now, it looks like August is going to be another epic reading month because I'm going to conclude the second trilogy in the Echo Saga. I will also start a non-weighted series, The Sun Eater. There are also potentially be 2 new releases. So stick around because I think we are just getting started. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel Dynasty so you won't miss anything from me. I'll see you all real soon. Goodbye.